was still having trouble breathing. And the health department told me that my COVID symptoms would stop after about 10 to 14 days. And the 8th rolled around and I was still having massive problems, even taking a deep breath. So I went to my doctor and he did a chest x-ray, and you could just tell that he had reservations and he was concerned about something but wouldn't tell me right away. And I was like, okay, you're kind of just sitting there and you're like, well, why is he looking like that? Like, what is going on? So he's like, you need to go see a pulmonologist right away. And I'm like, why? What is going on? He's like, do you see this part down here? It's still showing abnormalities. And I'm like, so okay, so what does that mean? And he's like, I think you have permanent lung damage. And I'm like, okay, like, what does that mean? He's like, you may never get your lung capacity back again. And I'm like, but I'm a singer, I sing all the time. How am I supposed to sing? And he's like, you may not ever be able to again. And I kind of was faced with that reality of like, okay, like now what? Never actually heard the audible voice of the Lord before, but this was close. All I heard was, do you believe that I can hear you, that I can heal you? And I was like, I don't know. I've been a Christian for 25 years, and healing is one of those things that I struggle with the most because it's never actually happened when I've prayed for it before. So I kind of waited. I didn't give him an answer. I didn't do anything. And after about an hour or so, I literally was like, why am I what do I have to lose? I'm like, okay, God, I believe. And those 2 words literally transformed everything. I felt this fire in my chest, unlike anything I have ever felt before. And that was the 10th. And by the 12th, I was singing and I could breathe deep and I didn't have any chest pain, and I haven't had it since. So it's been a pretty cool experience to be able to change my perspective. Because a lot of times I think we as Christians, we get into this mindset that sometimes stuff isn't for me. And maybe it's God's will that I'm not healed. But it is God's will that we are healed. And we just have to get to that point where we honestly 100% believe it. And sometimes it takes saying things over and over and over again for our head and our heart to come together. But once it does, it literally has transformed my relationship with God in ways I never expected.